To us live from Kasarani, updates there on the key Nairobi races. You're watching Decision 2022, all eyes on the numbers, and now I can take you to NTV's Dan Mwangi and also Dr. Tom Wolfe, research analyst with TIFA, for a bit of a breakdown and understanding on where we are. Dan.
Thank you very much, Smriti, and from Tom and I, good evening. We're going to look at some of the numbers, and we'll spread this conversation out across our broadcast for the next number of hours as we get better insight on some of these things and some of the numbers and the implications of the same and context when we compare performance in the last election to the current one. So, Doc, welcome.
Thanks.
So, again, we have our split map here. We have the 2022 results so far, and we have the 2017 so far. We're looking at how, some areas that Raila Odinga performed a certain way in the last election vis-a-vis the current one, and also looking at how William Ruto, when he was with Uhuru Kenyatta, performed compared to how he's performing now under the UDA umbrella or Kenya Kwanza. So yesterday we looked at Kitui County and Nakuru County, and we looked at one of the constituencies in Kwale, right? So today, what if we try and see whether Ruto has invaded Raila's home? Let's see.
That's an important question.
Yeah, that's Homa Bay. We want Siaya County, and we have Siaya County here. So I will just expand them so it becomes easier to read. So Siaya County, now here in 2017, Raila Odinga had 99.11% in his home county, which was 375,712 votes, so 375K thereabouts. This time, he has 371,286, 98.54. I mean, he's still, this is a landslide, just about half a percentage point less. Then William Ruto has 1.21%. And that's 4,563 votes. Uhuru Kenyatta, William Ruto together had 0.66%, which is less than what Ruto has now. And even in terms of absolute numbers, they had just about 2,500 votes compared to this. What's your reading of that?
Thanks, Dan. Just before we start, I have to confess that yesterday I'd been a victim of some fake news when in the afternoon I got a phone call from one of my friends in Kwale saying that the ODM candidate for governor, Professor Boga, had defeated the outgoing deputy governor, Fatuma Achani. I found off, as soon as we got off air last night, that I was corrected by Dr. Collins, that in fact, in the evening yesterday, when I was on my way to studio, she had been declared the winner. So without making any sort of partisan appraisal or taking sides, I think she should be proud, and the women, of course, should be proud that she is going to be, after the swearing in, the first woman governor from that part of the country. So I just wanted to correct.
Thank you. That's very prudent of you, Doc.
Yeah. Coming to this, one of the things that we've been mentioning, repeating ourselves, maybe a bit like a broken record in the days when we used to have records. You're too young to remember them.
I have an idea.
Vinyl records. We said very small margins, either in shift of support, as you pointed out, or in turnout, can easily make the difference in this election, given that from all signs it's so close. With the margin between the winner and loser at the presidential level between 1%, maybe at most 2%. And look at what you just pointed out. In Raila's backyard, or maybe front yard of Siaya, the overall turnout has dropped, even if it's just by 3,000. Remember what I said last night. Okay, IBC did not meet their target in a registering of new voters. They got 4 million, whatever it was, about a third or a quarter of their target. And yet, the total number of votes cast has dropped. Why was that?
So the votes have come down from 379,080 to 376,805. That's about close to 3,000 or thereabouts.
That's right. And as I say, given the increase in the total number of registered voters from last time to this time, there's a question mark. What was happening in Raila's strongholds that didn't at least have the total turnout to keep pace with the total number of registered voters, the increase from last time. And I think that will be an important area of research. And then coming to the second of the two issues that you mentioned, sure, Raila Odinga is getting basically the same percent as he got last time, 0.5% less, but as you pointed out, the deputy president has basically doubled what his boss got last time when he was running as the deputy. And again, you might think that 2,000 votes, it doesn't make a difference. We can already see from the incomplete returns that have come in how close this thing is looking. That could be the difference in the election. So again, from a research point of view, it would be very important for us to go to the ground, whether through a survey or just to go there and try to find some of these people, who they are, who would they vote for in the last election if they voted, why they've changed. Because, sure, we have 47 counties, but just to repeat, and then I'll stop. In a close election, even such a result of a swing in the DP's favor can tell the final story.
Because it goes with with the encouragement that people are being given when they're being told to vote, that every vote counts. So this is the kind of thing in a close race especially that, underscores that call. So before we cross back to Smriti or to the Bomas of Kenya, let's try and see William Ruto's home county of Uasin Gishu, right? So let's go back to the show the counties. So that's Baringo. Don't mind my fat fingers.
Do you want my little one? It's smaller than yours.
Let me just zoom this.
There we go. Bomet, where is Uasin Gishu?
No, Uasin Gishu is
up.
Just up. Elgeyo Marakwet.
Just to the left.
There we go. Then we could get it on this other side as well. There we go. Now let's expand this and I've overexpanded. Okay, that's fine. That works just well. All right, so let's look at this. Currently, as it stands, William Ruto has 77.82% of the vote at just under 267,000 votes. Back then, under his boss, 265,704, 77.79%. That's fairly consistent. I mean, it's pretty much the same figure, but I mean, even the votes cast are almost the same. So we have almost similar number of votes.
But if I may, look at the contrast to the result in Siaya we just reviewed, where the total number of votes went down, even if only by 3,000.
Yeah.
And here, it's gone up by 1,000.
About
1,200 or whatever. Yeah, that's right. 342, 575, up, a little less than 200. But an increase, not a decrease. And that shows that the voter energy there had moved in the direction of the addition to the number of people who were registered.
Okay.
He maintained, as you said, basically the exact same proportion as last time, whereas Raila Odinga and Siaya, there was a slight drop. Did Raila improve or make any inroads?
Yes, we see that Raila last time had 72,378 at
21.19, 21, not even a percent, a tiny bit.
Yes, and in terms of absolute numbers, it's an increase of about 3,000 votes in William Ruto. So each of them has gotten more votes in the other's home county?
I don't know the ethnic breakdown in Uasin Gishu, but we know that the president and people associated with him had been actively supporting the former prime minister. I would have thought that this increase from last time, when there was a clear divide between Raila and Kalonzo Musyoka on one side and the president and his deputy on the other, that they would have hoped for a bigger increase from last time based on the support the president was getting through, the former prime minister was getting through Jubilee. So the fact that, as you summarized, it's basically the same, we don't see a huge advantage on the ground in Uasin Gishu of the support from Jubilee.
Okay, and if I will be allowed to just get one more, we can look at Luhyaland, the Murembe Nation. let's go. Yeah, then we go to, do we do Busia or Kakamega? Which do you think would be better to go by?
Each one has its own characteristics. Maybe we try Busia.
Busia, okay. Let's go to the border. That's Busia County. That's Busia County. Zoom out, scroll up, scroll to the side a bit. Let me just make it a bit, let me just get it to fit a bit better.
There we are.
There we go. All right, so here are the numbers. So in the last election, Raila Odinga had 86.82%, 239, almost 240,000 votes. Currently, he's at 218.
20,000 votes less.
And this is 81.84% compared to 86. So his numbers have gone down, all right? Then William Ruto currently has, as it stands, 46,613, which is 17.48%, about 17.5%. And Uhuru Kenyatta, then, and William Ruto in total had 34,249, which was 12.42%. So, there we go. So we see that they, in Busia, Raila Odinga's, influence seems to have waned a bit, and William Ruto seems to have improved from what he and his boss got last time. Your thoughts?
Well, when in our beginning Swahili class many years ago, the first little msemo we were haba na haba ujaza kibaba. This is a bit more like a kikombe. It's not just like a haba, just a few drops. I mean, this is a major change, especially when you're thinking it's just one of 47 counties. And also notice that we had a drop of nearly 10,000 in voter turnout.
Yeah.
So even the fact of this margin of basically 82% versus 17.5%, Raila Odinga didn't get as much of a boost if the turnout had been 20 or 30,000 votes more than last time. So smaller turnout, smaller margins, and again, that is a danger flag, again, in a close election.
Okay. And so we'll keep some of the numbers of the different counties that have been considered to be significant ones in regards to the competition.
Yeah. I would just add, and maybe I won't have to say this later, as I said yesterday, in our last survey at TIFA, we did ask people who said they were going to vote, in looking at the 6 positions, which is the most important one for you in motivating you to vote. And basically, president and governor were tied at around 26, 27% each, followed by, I think, MPs, then MCAs. Senators were a bit low, and women's rep at the bottom. So when we were comparing these numbers about the presidential outcomes in these different counties, I didn't mean to suggest that all of these changes are only based on what people thought about the presidential race. Once they've decided they're going to vote, maybe even for an MCA or a women's rep, and they've got to a polling station, they're going to be handed those 6 ballots. And they might even vote for one or the other at the presidential level as a kind of an afterthought. It wasn't their main priority for going. Nevertheless, these are the results that we end up. But I just mean to say that getting out to vote in the first place may not depend only or even mainly on who your presidential candidate is, because for many of the people we found in the survey, the county government that's closer to home is more important. I think it was 21% who said the MCA is their most important person they're voting for, because Uliam Pumishi is Pali Mtani. So let's look at the figures, but remember the broader context.
Okay, and we'll look at, when we're back later on this screen, we're going to be looking at different things, including some counties such as Bungoma, where there's the saying that Wetangula has really delivered. So we'll look at how the numbers are looking like in the county of